Myself, Dr. Rupasri, consultant in obstetrics and gynecology. Okay, today we'll discuss a very small topic. Okay, just fetus means its definitions. What is its line? What is the presentation, presenting part? So many will be confused with the definitions, right? I want to make the definitions very clear. Okay, this is a small class of only 10 minutes, and we'll see the detailed descriptions regarding it. Okay, fetus. What is fetal life? Fetal life means it is the long axis of the fetus to the long axis of uterus. This is the long axis of the fetus to the long axis of the uterus. It is a longitudinal line. Okay. So most common is longitudinal line of about 99.5%, and next is the maybe oblique may be there, and some may be transverse also. It is very less of only 0.5%. It is the axis of the mother, axis of the baby to the axis of the uterus. Okay, this is the fetal line. There may be, see, it is the longitudinal. This is the oblique. Okay, this is the transverse. Okay, longitudinal lie about 99.5%. These two are only 0.5%. In this slide, the main important questions what you can observe is first define. They will be asking define. More common is longitudinal of about 99.5%. Okay. Now you got the definition of the line. Let us see what is the presentation. It is the part of fetus which occupy the lower pole of uterus. Okay, see. If you take this as complete uterus, see. This is the cephalic. Both these are cephalic. This is the breech. And this is the shoulder. So, it is a part of fetus which occupies the lower pole of uterus. This is the lower pole of uterus, in which cephalic is 96%, breech is 3%, shoulder is 0.5%. Okay, what is the part which is present in the lower pole of uterus? They'll be asking like, is it cephalic or breech or shoulder? As I said, same the definition and the percentages will be asked as a question from this slide. Okay. Next, what is the presenting part? See, the presenting part, it is the part of fetus which lie over the internal os of cervix. Means what we can say, in case of if cephalic presentation, what vertex is the presenting part. Okay, so it is a C. If we take it as fetus, this is the cephalic means head. See, in the cephalic, specifically when we are doing internal examination, per vaginal examination, we can see the vertex. So, It is a part of the fetus which lie over the internal. So many students will be confused between the presentation and presenting part. Presenting part, they are asking specifically about a part. What is that part? Okay, in case of cephalic presentation, the part which is present is vertex. Okay, most of the time it is vertex. That is about 96% it is vertex. Other 3 to 4%, then in breech presentation there may be sacrum, or in case of shoulder, acromion may be present. So it is the presenting part, means specific part should be there while the internal examination of the cervix. Okay, next. Now, attitude. It is the relation of one part of fetus to other. Okay, it is a relation. Second point is universal. Attitude is flexion. Okay, flexion. Universal attitude is flexion. Attitude is dependent on amount of amniotic fluid. This is, if we take is a, this one. There is flexion of the head. There is flexion of the limbs. There is flexion of the thighs. So this is the universal flexion. Okay, universal attitude is flexion. There is a flexion of the head, flexion of the limbs, both upper limb and lower limb. Okay, next see. This is simply there is little deflection. There is marked deflection, complete deflection. Okay, this is, there will be extension also. But we always say the attitude, universal attitude is flexion, because in flexion, the fetus forms an ovoid mass. So it easily pass through the birth canal. Okay, so for easy passage, flexion is important. And these important questions are, they'll be asking universal attitude. What is this universal attitude? Something, this is flexion. Definition they'll be asking. Okay, and depending upon the amniotic fluid, will the attitude of the fetus change? Yes. Why? What is the reason? Reason, because in flexion it forms an ovoid mass. So it easily passes through the birth canal. Okay? Next. These are the questions that can be asked. See, I am specifically mentioning each and every line which is asked in the examination. Okay? Please note down all the points, that you will be very benefited. Okay? Next. Now denominator. Denominator means it is the only point of the, it is a bony point of the presenting part. It is a bony fixed point. Okay, it is a bony fixed point. In case of occiput or cephalic, vertex is a denominator. In case of face, it is the mentum. This is mentum. In case of brow, it is frontal eminence. In case of breech, it is a sacrum. In case of shoulder, it is acromion. Now, if we take a normal fetus, this is the occiput, and in that vertex is the denominator. The face, we see the mentum will be the denominator. In case of brow, see the brow, frontal line. In case of brain, see the sacrum. In case of shoulder, see the acromion. Okay, what is denominator means? It is a particular fixed bony point. Fixed bony point of the presenting part in which the occiput vertex is the fixed part, in face mentum, in brow frontal eminence, in breech sacrum, and in shoulder acromion. Okay, they will be asking what is the denominator in case of breech? It is sacrum. What is the denominator in case of face? It is mentum. Okay, questions may be asked like this. And the next is position. Position means it is the relation of pelvis to fetus. Means this is the pelvic cavity if we think. We'll see. It is a relation of the pelvis to the fetus. Okay. Sometimes what happens is if we take it, this is the left side and this is the right side. Okay. Here the occiput is anterior. Here the occiput is posterior. Now, how we will define the position is, here the occiput is anterior, we are on the left side. So it is left occipito anterior. See, left side the occiput is anterior. Now the left side only, the occiput is little transverse. It is like this. Okay, here the occiput is anterior. Here the occiput is transverse. Here slowly left side, but the occiput is becoming posterior. Posterior. Okay. Now, same. On the right side, the occiput is anterior, it is transverse, and it is posterior. See, what are the important things which we are going to see is, the first position which is important is left occipito anterior. Left side, occiput will be anterior. Most of the time, always the position will be left occipito anterior. First position. Second position is right occipito anterior. Next is right occipito anterior. This is the second position. And the third is right occipito posterior. See this. It is a right occipito posterior. And the last is left occipito posterior. Okay. So they'll be asking, what is the most common position, okay, of the fetus? That is always maximum 90% of the cases the occiput will be, means the position will be left side and the occiput will be anterior. Okay. So this is the position of the fetus with regarding to the pelvis. So we are calling it as position. Now little example will see. Always will say longitude, how we'll write? During pervaginal examination, how we'll write is longitudinal line. Okay. Cephalic presentation. Okay. Longitudinal line, cephalic presentation. Vertex is the presenting part. Okay, presenting part. We can't see, but mostly the attitude is flexion. Okay, and mostly the position may be left occipito anterior. This is the presentation of the fetus maximum in case of vaginal delivery. So always longitudinal line with cephalic presentation. Vertex is a presenting part. Attitude is flexion, complete flexion. of the head, and last position is it may be left occipital anterior. Okay, the questions is which is the most common position in case of pelvis to fetus is left occipital anterior. Okay, and is the sequence correct or wrong? This may be one. Okay, it is the one, it is correct. And let's definition as I already said. And the last thing is why? Why always there is cephalic presentation? Because first one, because of the gravity. First one is gravitation. Head is heavier, so it occupies the lower pole of uterus. Compared to the breech, head is heavier. Therefore, because heavy things come down, heavy things come down. So, it comes down and settle down in the lower pole of the uterus. Head is heavier, so it comes down. So, it comes down. So, it occupies the lower pole of the uterus. Second is adaptation. In case of flexion position, you take it as a fetus, you take it as a breech. What happens is the circumference of head is just 27.5 centimeters. The complete breech is almost 32.5 centimeters. Okay, now we'll come to last slide once. See, in case of head, it is only 32. It is about 27.5 centimeters. In case of breech, it will be more. That is 32.5. So what happens is it is a smaller one. So it occupies the lower pole of uterus and it occupies the fundal region of uterus. Fundus of uterus. Therefore, mostly cephalic presentation will be there. Okay, longitudinal line 99% and it is cephalic presentation which is about 96 because see, head is it is only circumference is 27.5 but in case of breech it is 32.5 and the uterus will be like this. Therefore, the smaller head with a larger breech. Okay. I think you have understood all the topic clearly because all the definitions will be there which will be very much confusing. Okay, simple. What is a lie? What is the presentation? What is the presenting part in it? What is the attitude of whole body now? It's flexion. And last is the denominator and in which position it is getting delivered. Why cephalic more? Because head is heavier with a very small circumference. It comes and lies down in the lower pole of uterus. Okay? Okay, you have understood this topic, I think. Let me end the session here and meet you with another session. I thank you so much. Thank you.